Hey, this is Abe.
And this is Alexa.
Welcome back to the Get Out and Enjoy Life podcast, or GOEL.
Today we're talking about our trip to the Bremerton Blackberry Festival and the Washington State Fair.
Yeah, so we went to this about a week and a half ago or so.
Yeah.
The Bremerton Blackberry Festival, it was a couple of days long.
Yeah.
I was working a couple of those days, but the last day it was happening, I was off, so we were able to go.
Yeah, and I happened to see it online, and I was like, why not? We've never been to Bremerton, so we thought we'd check it out.
Yeah, so Bremerton is where it's based in Washington State.
So it's not too far from us.
No, and it's probably about we live here in Tacoma, and it's probably about, 30, 45-minute drive from us. We had actually driven past Bremerton many times on going to visit other areas past Bremerton, and we didn't actually realize where Bremerton was.
Yeah, so it's known for being just a smaller town where the Navy is. So they have, I don't know what you would call it, like their base.
Yeah, their Navy base.
And then there's a little town surrounding it. So they actually have a downtown area, which is where the festival was being held. There's a lot of newer buildings, apartments, there's a theater, there's restaurants and things like that. So it actually was way nicer than we expected.
Yeah, it's got almost a small town vibe going on, but it's got life, I think, really given to this small town from the Navy, because you have money coming in with the Navy, of course.
Yeah, different people coming, staying in different apartments.
Yeah. So when we ended up driving there, like I said, took about 30 to 45 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
Ended up finding some parking originally, and they were charging up and down the yin-yang for this parking.
I feel like it was like $19.
Yeah, for you had to pay $19 for 12 hours. There's no option to pay less. And we almost paid it. We got out of the car, parked the car, got out of the car, went to go pay it, and then
I think you kind of called out to this lady and asked her, like, hey, is there other parking nearby? And she's like, yeah, just around the corner. So we go around the corner, and it's like $6.
Right.
So we're like, we should just park there. I think that's where people park when they're taking the ferry, like to Seattle and other places, because you can catch the ferry there.
Yeah, so we ended up parking there and then walking down, which is like a 5-minute walk down to the festival. And it was kind of interesting because the festival was broken up almost into 2 parts, or maybe really 3 parts. There was a road that went through, and a small portion of the festival was on the other side of the road. And they had like a stage there, and
it was more like focused on kids and like magicians and hypnotists and things like that.
And there wasn't a lot of food over there. I think there were about 2 food trucks.
Yeah, most of it was just vendors, people selling books and items they've made, earrings, random things like that.
One of the interesting things was this place provided porta potties, which was great. Not that porta potties are that interesting, but it looked like the porta potties were locked, and I was like halfway green, halfway red on like the lock sign when people, lock the door on it. I was like, oh, it looks locked, and I went to pull on the door a little bit, and it felt locked. And so we just stood there for a while, probably about 3 or 4 minutes, and one of the guys from one of the vendors walks over and he's like, there's like, these are new porta potties. Like, I'd never recognized the brand before. It wasn't like a honey pot or anything, if you know your porta potties,
Yeah, important knowledge.
Yes. So he's like, you just got to pull on the door hard. And actually, I'm like, okay, hopefully I don't pull open, someone sitting down on the pot.
Right.
And there's another, I think you had already gotten in the porta potty, and there's another lady waiting with me. She's like, thought about it and then decided not to. So I went and pulled hard on the door, and it opened really easily. I think they are putting these latches on these porta potty doors that are preventing the doors from like slamming from like the wind and everything, like opening up if the wind hits them. So that was neat. A little porta potty information for you.
And then on the other side, when we cross the street back over towards the water, you kind of walk down a little hill, and there's a couple of hotels over there. The ferries are also docked there. And there was more food. There was a stage where they had a band performing country music.
Pretty big stage. Yeah.
They also had like R&B music there at one point.
I remember the band there. Do you remember their name?
I don't remember their name.
I think their name was The Undecided.
Oh.
Because they're like, we are undecided. We couldn't decide on a band name, and we couldn't decide on the type of music we want to play. They were playing everything. They were playing country.
They were going to play the Beatles if you wanted that. So they were really great, actually.
It was funny. Mm-hmm. So,
but there was a lot of food over there. So the first food item we got was called a Blackberry slug, which that's kind of a weird name. I was like, what even is that? But it ended up being almost like a maple bar.
Yeah, maple
shape.
log.
Yeah, like those maple log donuts, but instead of having that, it had powdered sugar on the top, and it had blackberry filling inside. It was absolutely delicious, messy, but really good.
There's this, it was being put on, I think, by like the Lions Club.
Mm-hmm. They were doing that.
There's this, older gentleman sitting in a chair there, and he kept yelling out these funny, like, little advertisements. I can't even think of any of them off the top of my head.
Well, he had, like, a dog sitting next to him. Was it, like, a German Shepherd or something like that? And he did not look super excited to be there, but he was like, come get your slugs. Yeah. Like, people were like, what is that?
And 1 slug for 2 or something like that.
Yeah, it was super cheap.
Yeah. He had all these cute little sayings, but just kind of in the monotone voice that he said it in was hilarious.
He's so disinterested. But it was kind of like all the women who were working there put him up to that. That was like his role.
Oh, man. Mm-hmm. But, the slug was great. And then we try to be pescatarian most of the time. Mm-hmm. We're more of really a flexitarian. Can't say that we're actual pescatarians.
Yeah, because really, if you've listened to our previous episodes where we've talked about Italy, like, we have tried, meat products, or I at least have tried different things. I have as well. So when we travel, we do tend to we eat meat sometimes.
Yeah. Usually when we're home,
we don't.
Yeah, we don't buy meat. But anyway, I digress just because we found this corn dog station, and they were making the corn dogs from scratch in terms of, like, taking a veggie dog and then dipping it in batter and then frying it.
Yeah.
It was really good. We got a veggie dog. I don't think I've ever really had a veggie corn dog before.
I don't think I have either, and I'm glad they even had that option for us.
Yeah. Someone should be selling these. Like,
they should. I would eat
packaging, packaged frozen veggie corn dogs. Yeah. I think they would be a hit. Mm-hmm. That was good. And we got some chips there. They were, like, spiraling the potatoes. And
so they actually were, like, cooked chips. I mean, they actually were doing them fresh.
Yeah.
They were good. There was nothing to write home about with those.
The corn dog was
but the corn dog was really good.
And we walked down the rest of the way of this little market area.
Other vendors, people selling salsa, and there were authors there of their own. They had written their own books, so they were selling their books. We saw that there was a Navy history museum, I think we'll
have to go back to that. And you can go on one of their ships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we kind of walked back down the other way, and as we were walking back down, there was like an R&B singer there, so the vibe totally changed when the R&B music came on. It felt like a lot of older people weren't as interested in that music. No, they actually
got up out of their chairs, like, visibly. Got up out of their chairs and left.
Yeah.
And then the younger crowd
kind of came in a little bit and liked that music. So it was a little bit for everybody. And then we just kind of kept walking around. And the other Blackberry item that we had was a Blackberry soda, which was
really good.
Super good.
It was a little pricey.
Was it homemade blackberry syrup?
I think so. It was like $12 for like
a 24 ounce.
Yeah, which was a little pricey, but it was good.
Yeah.
And we shared it.
And it's like, we did come to a Blackberry festival, so we wanted to make sure we tried some of the items, because actually there were only a few things that were actually Blackberry like flavored. Yeah.
And then one of the other cool things that we got there was we've been eating a lot of tofu lately, like tofu scrambles and then pressed tofu, just baked tofu. And we found there's a seasoning place there.
Yeah.
They said they make all their own, like, seasoning mixes from fresh herbs and things, or freshly dried herbs.
Yeah, and we could taste test some of them. So we actually bought some of the seasoning from them, which is really good.
It was good. So we ended up trying some of it on our tofu when we got home.
What was it called? It was like pineapple jalapeno or something like that.
It was. It's like sweet and hot, which is a great combination.
Yeah.
And so that was the festival.
And then we just kind of walked around the little downtown area once we were done with the festival. And we saw that they have a theater there where they have concerts and comedy acts and things like that come. So that was kind of cool to see because it wasn't a venue that I knew of.
There were like big names there too that are going to be coming, like Jake Shimabukuro and
Rick Steves is coming.
Yeah.
We used his books while we were traveling in Italy, so we're excited to maybe go see him.
Yeah. One of the other cool things, like Alexa mentioned, is that with Washington, we have a state fair, like many states, and the state fair is going on right now.
And it runs for about a month, which is really long, actually. I think probably in comparison to other places. And there's just a lot of food there. There's games. There's rides. You could see animals. It's just a little bit of everything. But Abe and I decided to go on a weekday, which actually was the best decision ever because there were no lines anywhere.
And we actually didn't even know we were going that day.
No,
we were like,
it was a fluke.
We were going to go drive down to Gig Harbor area, then we decided we're not going to do that. And we were like, well, we'll go to Puyallup. And then we're like, oh yeah, the fair is going on.
Yeah, and if you know us at all, we tend to like to do things on the fly.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll just, if we're both off that day, we'll just be like, what are we up to today? And we'll find something to do locally.
Yeah. So we were driving out the Puyallup area, and then we remembered that the fair was going on.
Yeah.
And so bought tickets, admission tickets, and got in. And I do not know pop culture at all in terms of like really any celebrities or really any like songs. I don't know. It just never really stuck with me and was really memorable for whatever reason that is.
Yes.
But some of the YouTubers, I like.
Abe knows them.
I know some of them. So best ever food review show. Sonny from that. You spotted him. He was doing a review of some sort there.
So Abe and I are walking. We're coming into the entrance. We had gotten fair scones because that is a must for me. They have like this, I guess, raspberry jam that goes on these famous Fisher scones at the fair. Get them. If you don't like scones, you will like these scones, I swear. Yeah, right, Abe?
They're amazing.
They're really good. And you can buy them like in the dozens. So that's like a must. So we stopped there. We keep walking. Abe and I are like, okay, are we eating more food? Are we going to go see like the arts and crafts show or the flower show? And so we're walking and I see this guy and I only know him because of Abe. It's this YouTuber and I could recognize him because of his red bandana that he wears every time, he shoots a video. And I look over, I'm like, oh my God, Abe, like that's the guy.
Yeah.
I didn't remember his name, but I was like, Abe, that's your guy. Like that's him. He's like filming, a video for YouTube. And Abe was like, oh my God. And I've never seen Abe starstruck before. I mean, just the look on his face, he was so excited.
When I first saw you, Alexa, I was starstruck.
Right. No, this was a different look. So
my legs got weak.
Right. Abe literally had to turn around. He's like, oh my God, like that's him. And he was so amazed, like how he shoots his videos. He was just using an iPhone.
Yeah, for
instead of like high-end equipment.
Maybe for that segment.
Yeah, for that piece. And we don't know because we just saw him in front of this one. I think that it was maybe like fried foods or desserts.
Pies, I think is what it was.
Yeah, and I've actually never noticed that place
haven't
before.
Either.
So I don't know. Maybe it's super famous and we just don't know about it. But it was really cool to see him. He was way taller than I expected.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it was just so weird to see somebody we've seen who's so animated. Yeah. And there's so many cuts on his videos. To see him in real life, it was just like the average guy,
He's
just
like a real person,
Yeah. So,
like, I could do that type of thing.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if he was going to go to other places around the fair.
We were kind of trying to scope him out. But
yeah, we were hoping we'd see him again because I told Abe, I was like, you should go get a picture with him.
I couldn't. He was doing a video. I couldn't interrupt him.
Yeah.
But like when I've seen him do other videos, he's done multiple day like fairs. Like I think from Minnesota Fair he did. But so yeah, we went and looked at some of the other arts and crafts there, and then Alexa really wanted to go and see the animals.
Yeah. So they have things like cows. There were tons of goats. So I assumed this goat show was going on.
Yeah.
We saw horses.
The goats were really cute. We saw
really cute.
These interesting goats. They didn't have any ears. And at first we were like, did their ears get clipped off? Which, like, that would be weird. But no, it's actually like a goat with no ears. You should Google it if
you're interested.
Yeah. They're not cute.
Yeah, not as cute.
No. Then there's other goats, like, they just have, like, floppy ears. You really like those.
Yeah, I really like those. They're cute.
And then the other, they're just climbing on top of each other.
Right, they're kind of funny.
Yeah, they are funny.
Yeah.
And yawning and everything else.
Trying to, like, sit on other goats, trying to climb on others to get food.
Right. And then there was one pen that was next to, like, all of the hay for the entire, like, all the goats in the area, and they were just sticking their heads through and eating all the hay.
Yeah. They were on a mission.
Or the alfalfa. But, so, and then we went and saw the horses.
We also watched a little bit of a show on one of the stages.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The guys were...
they did one of Michael Jackson's
Yeah, they were doing
songs.
a Michael Jackson song.
It was like... It wasn't with a banjo. It was like almost like bluegrass-ish.
Bluegrass or like folk type music. So it was an interesting...
It was an interesting mix.
Yeah, mix of things.
They did it pretty well, I think.
Yeah, and then we went to see the flowers, saw the giant pumpkins that get grown. Except two of them, it sounded like I overheard this girl talking to someone. And she's like, somebody came in and like slashed the pumpkins or something like that, which is really
out of
sad.
all 4 pumpkins, 2 of them were slashed. And they were already molding and like deteriorating, which is like, really sad, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, because people grow those probably for so long. I mean, they were and tend to them. And
like,
these are like hundreds of pounds. Yeah. Sometimes they're like, I think up to like 1,000 pounds. Like they're heavy.
Yeah.
So we did that. We didn't do any rides. We didn't feel a need to as much.
No.
Plus the rides weren't open for part of the time that we were there.
Yeah,
just because we were there so early in the morning.
And we were going to eat some more, but honestly, like the prices of the fair, they've like gone up. Like, I mean, we could afford it, but like you were trying to like, get our bang for our buck sometimes.
Yeah.
And like it was like what, for a sandwich and maybe a soda, it was like $20.
Yeah, for one of the places. Yeah. I was like, what? That is insane. So crazy. But also, I think I've become a little bit disinterested in fair food in general.
Yeah.
Especially after coming back from our Italy trip. I mean, the amount of like fresh foods and things that we had, I just feel like my diet is a little bit different now. And
your palate is a little bit different.
My palate. And I mean, the scones were a must for me, but the burgers and the corn and all this, like, I just wasn't that interested in getting it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't going to do it for me.
Yeah, and we decided we were just going to go buy some groceries and cook at home. We actually ended up going to a Starbucks right outside of the fairgrounds and ended up sitting there. It's one of the nicest Starbucks that I've been in, actually. They had, like, leather chairs in there, like, kind of like little, like, really, I don't know how to describe them. They're, like, almost like just cup your body type of thing.
Yeah, super comfortable.
Yeah. So those were, the things that we've done in the past week and a half or so.
Yeah, and, we always talk about getting out and enjoying life, in many different ways. And we also get out and enjoy life locally. Mm-hmm. We go to cities that aren't too far from us. I always see events online, so we try to go to those things.
You always see them on Facebook.
I always see them on Facebook.
Which I'm a little, like, envious sometimes because I got rid of my Facebook. And I'm like, what? Like, a lot of things aren't even posted.
Yeah, I know. Even when
they're not posted unless it's posted on Facebook.
Right. Even if I just do a Google search, sometimes I can find things. But really, Facebook is the place. I mean, I feel like that's the only reason why I go on Facebook. Like, if Abe and I are off, I'll be like, what's going on today, and that's how I
And
know about things.
And I'll look, and you'll look, and you'll always find something because
Yeah.
of Facebook. And like, I just sold a car, and
Right.
it sold through your
Through
Facebook.
Yeah, I had posted it there. So, some people still use it. I know I know a lot of people who also don't and aren't interested in it, but I feel like that's my one thing, like why I still go on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, we happened to see the Blackberry Festival there. I just knew the fair was going on. It seems to be going on at the same time. But yeah, we try to get out in any ways we can, whether that's going to farmers market or, you know, just a little festival that's happening near us, a little street fair, whatever it is, a concert. We're always interested in, you know, seeing new things, seeing new perspectives.
So thank you for joining us again on Get Out and Enjoy Life podcast, or GOEL podcast.
And just remember, like I just said, make sure you get out and enjoy life in whatever way that means to you. Getting out in your neighborhood, going to the fair like us, going to a festival, hanging out with friends, doing something at home. Just make sure you do whatever feels right for you.
So we'll see you on the next episode, and thank you for joining us again.
Bye.